Hello and welcome to the Access to Education 2020 Accessibility to Support All Students on Apples and iPads, on Apple devices and iPads. My name is Lisa Benfield. I am the facilitator for today. My contact information is lbenfield@patinsproject.org. You can find me on Twitter as well at Lisa Benfield OT. If you are having any audio issues with the webinar, try signing out and signing back in again, or call the number provided within your invitation. So again, here's my informal introduction. I am Lisa Benfield. I am a patent specialist. I'm an occupational therapist. My contact information is on the screen. lbenfield@patinsproject.org is my email. My text and voice cell phone number is 317-572-5570. And again, you can follow me on Twitter. I love interacting and growing my professional learning network there on Twitter at Lisa Benfield OT. My formal introduction, I am an occupational therapist, as I mentioned. I've been an OT now for over 20 years. For my home life, I am a wife and a mom to 5 children who are stuck with me. And I say that because I have been blessed to adopt 5 kiddos that were former foster kids with various special needs. Depending on their ages, they would say stuck. Some of them still love me. So we all know how that goes, right? Teenage years are tough. For some of my leisure activities, I love reading Audible books. I love to travel, especially theme park related. I'm a theme park junkie. My PATINS specialty areas are accessible educational material, or AIM, and assistive technology, or AT, for the primary ages, emotional disability, and Apple accessibility and integration. Here at PATINS, we have an accessibility promise. We are committed to making this presentation and its related materials accessible and to follow the principles of UDL, or Universal Design for Learning. A few things that you'll experience today: simple backgrounds with sans serif high contrast font. You'll experience closed captions. You will have the availability of digital materials provided for your use. There will be shortened links, QR codes, and hyperlinks. There'll be multiple opportunities to see examples and multiple opportunities to respond and ask questions. So please feel free to contact me at my email address with any concerns or additional needs. So, PATINS Project. I'm hoping that you are familiar with the PATINS Project, but PATINS is an acronym for Promoting Achievement Through Technology and Instruction for All Students. Universally designed access, engagement, and participation. This is the mission of the PATINS Project. We are supporting all Indiana public schools in creating and sustaining an equitable learning environment for every student. There are several PATINS services at absolutely no cost to you, the public school educator. Most of you have seen this Every Student Succeeds act. They call it the bagel, where equity and access equals outcomes. This is paramount in our state for making sure that our students receive all of the support that they need and deserve. Today's agenda, part of this we've already went through, right? So we have introductions, we have PATINS information, which I gave to you. We have the handout Padlet QR codes. So right here, if you hold up your iDevice or your phone, you would be able to put it in a photo mode. It should automatically come up, that a link would pop up so that you'd be able to access this Padlet. This particular Padlet is also, you can use tinyurl.com/apple-access-Padlet. And this is going to be the place that not only information that I have put in, hopefully our attendees also will add their information on practical use of Apple's built-in accessibility tools for the classroom. So this will be the place that we also can ask questions and interact long after the conference has concluded. Number 4, the objectives. I will read the objectives in one of the slides that's coming up soon. We also have Apple features, which is the main part of what our training is today. And then we'll go over any final questions that you have, as well as give you the opportunity for evaluation. Today's slide deck, I do have I have a shortened code, tinyurl.com/A, and this is case sensitive, capital A2E-Apple Access, with both of those A's being capital for Apple Access. You can also, again, use the QR code and you will be able to access today's slide deck. The objectives for today, they are: number 1, learn about accessibility features of Apple devices. Number 2, name and list 3 features that could benefit all students, not only students with IEPs or that are in special education, but all students. And then number 3, see demonstrations of how to use several features. And then number 4, walk away with at least 3 iPad features that you can teach students and parents how to use for their continuous learning and distance learning. I wanted to go through really quickly my top 3 features for all students. And I'm going to mirror my iPad real quickly. Let me move that over so that I am using the Reflector app so that you can see my iPad as we go through some of these demonstrations live today. And we will go back to the slideshow for just one moment. So there is one of the biggest things that I recommend often is something that you may already use on your own iPhone, but it's very helpful for students in the classroom. And that is speech to text on the keyboard. Let me switch over here. So first thing we're going to do, I do have my assisted touch button to kind of use as a cursor so you can see where I am on my iPad. So I'm going to go to settings, tap settings. And when we set up our iPad, I want to, let me move it over just a little. When I set up our settings on our iPad, we're going to go to General, the settings for your keyboard. And so as you can see, I just went to settings and then chose keyboards. And I have pretty much every accessibility feature available turned on. The big one that we're searching for today is make sure that you enable that dictation. And when you have enabled dictation on, if we were to go into notes, I just exit out, I go into notes. I'm going to see right here, I have this microphone on my screen right to the left of my keyboard. So if I have that on, it's going to capture everything that I say, period. And this way I can dictate what I want my paper to say, period. I tap the screen again, and there you can see. This is my dictation for the day. So that is probably one of my, if not my number one feature for students to be able to have that speech to text, or STT, availability for them to use while in school. So speech to text on the keyboard is my number one feature for all students, not only my students in special education. The next thing that I love probably the most about an iPad that helps students quite often read text that is even a little bit more challenging than they are ready for is speech selection. So again, I'm going to use my iPad and show you quickly how to do this and how to get there. And here I'm going to go over to settings again. But this time we're actually going to delve into the accessibility features. So for accessibility, you have, just real quickly, we'll gloss over this. You have 4 areas. You've got vision, physical and motor, hearing, and then you've got general. So for our purposes for speak selection, we're going to go to spoken content. And I'm going to tap on that arrow. So I already have it turned on. So this is the area, and when you come to the screen, it may look like this. So speak selection, and what's great about Apple, it tells you what that feature is. So a speak button will appear when you select text. So when you long press on a word, on any text, say on a website, then you will have the option to have it read to you. Speak screen is another one that's a close friend. You would be able to swipe from the middle of your screen 2 fingers down, and it'll read all of the content on the screen for you. So speak selection is going to be that long press. If I wanted, which it's not going to read here, but if I wanted to read the word selection, maybe I didn't understand that, I'd be able to select that word, have the words read. So we will go and demonstrate that real quickly here. So we're going to go back to our note that we just had open. I'm going to hover over the words, and you can see that it's highlighting what I would want it to say. And you can see I can choose copy it. I can look it up. If there's a word that I don't understand and you have your dictionary turned on, you can look up that word. You can speak it, or you can share it and export it. So if I want to just read the first sentence.
If I have that on, it's going to capture everything that I say.
So you can see my speak selection is on and reading for me. And we'll go back to our PowerPoint. So that is speech selection. So then I couldn't quite decide on a number 3. So I wanted to do 3 features, but then there are 2 that are just fantastic. One is the Notes app, the built-in Notes app that we were just in, and the icon looks like this. If you can, let me go like here, so you can see the icon right here. This app has become very robust. If I start a new note, again, I could use my keyboard and just type. The car was red and fast. Okay, so I could choose to use my speech to text. The car was red and fast, period. Okay, so those are a couple of the features. However, I could also start a new note and take a picture of, or take a picture of something that I would want to create a PDF. I could import a picture of something that I wanted to be a PDF. So what I did, I will just go ahead and show you. Let me make sure this is set up correctly. Okay, so this is set up correctly. So all I did was I went to, I could either scan a document, I could take a photo or video, or I could choose a photo or video. So I was going to choose a video or a photo that I already had. Right on this right on this picture now, I would be able to type in. I can go up here to the top. I can hit markup. I could write in what I wanted to say using a pen. I can write it in. I can highlight something on this page. I can erase what I've written. I can also go over here to this plus, hit text. I can create a text box. So I'll go ahead and do that real quickly. So you see it pops up in the middle of my screen. Something to do if I am in the blue zone, let's say I'm going to I was trying to hit edit. That's what happens when you go live. Something happens, right? So not letting, oh, there we go. I'm going to change my text. I could change it to similar as on there, but I really want to be able to type. Oh, there it is, edit. There we go. My on-screen keyboard, I believe because I'm mirroring it, is not on there, but trust me, you can do the text. I could also write something in. I'm gonna say draw with finger. So if I wanted to draw, I could say if I was in the green zone, I could say watch schedule, because in that zone I'm feeling good. It's hard to read with your finger. Right, with your finger, right? So then I could not only type, I can write it in. And then at the top, once I'm done with that markup, I could send it to, I can save a copy of this image. I can send it through my email. I could airdrop it to my teacher. There's any number of things that you can do. So this could work with any of your worksheets. This could work to create something right there on the fly, right on your app, right within zones. And so it's funny that the writing is that horrible, isn't it? Because many of my kids that I've worked with as an occupational therapist would have writing similar to this. So for them to be able to use the typing feature would be fantastic. For them to be able to write it, multiple means for them to be able to engage with that activity is super important. So that's all done within your Notes app. Again, and if I wanted to continue on, if I wanted to keep a journal of how I felt at certain times, I could say I was in the yellow zone getting off the bus. I could keep track of that. There's so many things that we could do right here within this Notes app. So I'm going to go back. So you can Notes, you can use the Notes app to write, to type, and create PDFs. You can also use handwriting within this app. There are so many options for you. The next thing that I do want to do is just discuss the camera and those screenshot and export features that you have within Safari. So if we look up a website that's going to have a lot of appropriate information for students, we will be able to take a screenshot of that as well as export it and for them to be able to mark it up as well. So let's skip over to our iPad again. And so this is just the Safari app. So this is the web browser within our Apple iPad. So I opened that. I do have it pulled up to National Geographic. Here is National Geographic Kids. I pulled up chimpanzee. So we can pick today's topic. We can scroll through here. Say there is an article that we would want to look at. We can look at that. We can switch to up at the top of our page. There it is. We have this icon within our address bar that has the letters there, and there's actually several features that we can look at that will help increase accessibility. So one is we can change the size of the font. If the reader view was available, if we were in an article, that would be available there. So we are going to leave the font the same size, but we're going to jump back to this chimpanzee site, and okay, we will not do that then. Let's go to polar bears. So we'll click the article on polar bears. What's nice is, again, if we look up here at this bar, we can find some different accessibility features, one of which is, so if you look at this page, there's an article or an advertisement for Lego City Adventure. Well, I don't want those to show. That's a little distracting for my students. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this reader view. And so you notice this is the same exact article with only the applicable photos that are from the article that are relevant versus all of the ads. So, and again, just going back to our slideshow, the camera screenshot export feature is the one that we're going to go through. So I can, here on this web page, I can take a screenshot, which on the iPad that I'm using, it is pressing the home button and the sleep button. So I've got my screenshot. I'm going to tap on that screenshot, and it's really important that you notice this. So you've got your screen, which is only a portion of the article, as you can see. You can see on the screen, it's, oh, and I just marked on it. Oops, sorry. Let me undo. There you go. So let me put that over there. So it's only a portion of the article, but I can also choose, this is kind of life-changing for lots of our kids. You can choose the full page. So now I have a screenshot of the entire page that the student's going to be able to read and write. So if you see, it's the whole length of the page instead of ending at a partial page. And so from here, I can also, there's also features on your screenshot. You've still got the traditional cropping feature. You've obviously got the markup feature that I keep hitting. And then you've also got the export feature up at the top again. One other accessibility feature that is on this page is this. And you can see how you can decrease and increase the contrast. So right here, I'm going to hit the export feature again. I can send it to any of my normal places. If I need it read aloud to me, I can choose Snap and Read. If I need to copy it and print it, translate it, I can save it to files. Again, I can choose to move it to AirDrop if I'm using Notability that day. And if I want to add more locations, I can do that here as well. So that feature can be life-changing for many of our students who struggle with reading an entire page, first of all. Second of all, being distracted from ads. Third, they can highlight right on here. So say you're asking them to find the main idea of this article. Well, we can switch to the highlighter mode, which is right here. I have yellow. If I want them to highlight just this first sentence, then we can do that. So just wanted to give you a few features that are built right in. I can save this PDF to files or delete screenshot. For purposes today, we're just going to delete and exit out. So hopefully that feature right there is helpful, but I could also take a picture of a page and do all of those markup features, send it, create a PDF, all of those things with the camera as well. So let's go on to the next screen. Okay, so we are now at the point where I want to go over individual features, and for sake of time, we're going to go through them quite quickly. But what I've done here is I went to settings, and now we're going to go back down to that accessibility. And within accessibility, again, you have vision. The very first one that we want to go through today is vision. And so these are features that you have available built in within your iPad. There is a voiceover feature. And again, if you need to go through quickly on the fly and you've forgotten some of these things, voiceover will read the whole entire screen for you. A lot of our kiddos with blind low vision issues use voiceover, but it will read everything on that screen to you. So if you have 10 apps on that screen, it's going to read those apps. It'll allow you to select those apps. Zoom feature, it's going to magnify your whole screen for you. There is a quick accessibility feature if you triple tap 3 fingers to zoom and then move the whole screen around. It's actually very helpful for those folks, again, with significant vision issues. Magnifier, again, a feature I currently have on, but it lets you use your device's camera to quickly magnify your surroundings. So when enabled, you can use, you can drag the magnifier from the app library to your home screen and add as an accessibility shortcut, which you've seen my cursor today. I only have a couple of things on my accessibility shortcut, but we will go over that in one moment. A big thing that helps, again, when we're looking at things that'll help all students, display text and size. We can choose to change the way that our iPad looks and the way that our students are going to see. So currently, if you take a look at my iPad, before I turn on bold text and after I turn on bold text, it makes it darker, thicker, easier to read, larger text. I currently have it on a little bit less than half so that you can see the majority of my screen. But if you see, we can make that text much larger. And again, this look could be achieved through some of the zoom and magnifier and other features. But if you have it set on larger text all of the time, for kiddos that do need bifocals, for example, they would be able to have larger text on all of the time. You can change the shape of the buttons. You can reduce the transparency or increase the transparency of your page. We could increase the contrast. As you can see, the background and the foreground become significantly different. Differentiate without color. Again, and it tells you exactly what this is. Replaces interface items that rely solely on color to convey information with alternatives. So kiddos that have difficulty telling differences between colors, that would be an important thing. Occasionally you have students that need the inversion color. There are people that actually prefer that as well. If that helps hold their visual attention, that's important as well. Again, there's a classic inversion. So there are color filters, and you can pick which color filter is most helpful for your student. Auto brightness. If you have a kiddo that has their brightness turned up all the way, you'll notice that their battery dies pretty quickly. So just be aware of that. You can reduce the motion on your screen. A lot of our backgrounds have a motion feature within them. You can turn these on or off. But again, these are some of the accessibility features that are available still within the vision. So autoplay messages, effects, autoplay video previews. If you would prefer those to be turned off, I'm not even sure why that's on mine. That's usually a little distracting for students. The next one we already went over, spoken content, but there's another piece to this that I really want you to know about. So we did turn on earlier speak selection, so that if you long press over a word or sentence or an entire page, it will read that entire text to you. Speak screen is the two fingers from the top of the screen pulling down, and it'll read the whole screen to you. Speech or show speech controller allows quick access to speak screen or speak on touch. So this one, again, you can choose the controller actions. Long press is going to read all the content. Double tap, speak on touch, and then you can see the opacity that is available as well. One of the big things that I really wanted to talk about on this page was the highlighting content. If you noticed earlier when I had the content highlighted, I have both my sentence and my word highlighted. That helps your student follow along that left to right reading, as well as, decreases their visual attention difficulty. You can also, so you can see I did words and sentences. You can change the background color. You can have the word color be in two different contrasting colors. So for this, at this time I had it yellow and purple. If I wanted to change my background to something that was even a little bit more contrasting, say green, we could do that as well. So spoken content is a very important one that I choose to have on all of the time, even for myself. So this one, speak words while typing, it's going to speak your whole words while you're typing. Self-explanatory. This speak auto text, automatically speak in auto corrections and auto capitalizations, and then hold to speak predictions. When typing, predictions are enabled. Tap and hold on each word to hear it spoken. So you can add some of these things for within writing. It's very helpful for students. You can set these settings when they are beginning writers, especially when they're struggling writers. This typing feedback will be really helpful within the apps that they're using to type. We also have the availability of voices, so you can choose different voices. Currently, I have mine set on as Siri, female from the United States. But even within the English language, we can choose different accents. So English in Australia, English India, English Ireland, English South Africa, English UK. So for some of our English language learner students, this is super helpful. Plus, as you can see, there are so many other languages available built in on the iPad that you can have the spoken content changed to. Your speaking rate. This is one that when I'm training entire classrooms, I ask students not to do this all at the same time, but you can actually choose how fast you want the words written back or read back to you. So on the sentences, if I'd had it turned up really fast, the sentence would read back in a very fast manner. Most students can do better than what you think, and so a lot of students that have just slightly over the halfway mark. And then pronunciations I do not have on. So that is those are the accessibility features within the vision section that I especially wanted to highlight. So physical and motor, as an OT, a lot of my life has lived within this specific area. So this is where you access your switches, your voice control, your home button, your Apple TV remote, all of those things. We are going to quickly go over the assistive touch, which I have on, which is this shortcut menu right here right now. When I tap on it, you can see I have Siri and speak screen. That's all that I have noted right now. I can add several more items. In this, I can say, okay, if I want to double tap on there. I want a home button on there. I want to be able to, if a student is not able to shake, to erase whatever they have written. If I wanted to have a volume up and volume down as part of my selections. So I'm going to move back to 3 again. You can change what this assistive touch button has on it, as you could just see, and you can customize that menu. So if you have a student that needs to access something frequently, this is a great place to have it. Instead of, and then also, I'm sorry, one more time. Instead, you see I have on there Siri if I wanted to ask a question. If I had a hard time holding down and selecting that, holding down the home button, I could have Siri right here on my accessible or my assistive touch button, but also I can have speak screen. So earlier when I was talking about speak screen, I mentioned to you that you have to have 2 fingers and pull down to have the screen read. That's really difficult for some of our students. So, having that available right there within this assistive touch, as a 2-tap option to access that feature is very helpful for our kiddos. So also you can customize other physical features, single tap, double tap. You can customize your pointer devices, show your on-screen keyboard, etc. You can also access Dwell. In some of our trainings, David Jackson and I provide multiple trainings on iOS accessibility features, and we talk a little bit about Dwell, or how long you have to hover over an item in order for it to be selected. You can change that dwell speed, etc. So haptic touch, if you press on the display using a different length of time to reveal content, preview actions, and contextual menus. touch accommodations. If you have any difficulty accessing the touch screen, then we can make these accommodations. So changing the hold duration, ignoring if I have a trimmer and I might hit the same icon 3 times, make sure that touch is only recorded as 1 touch instead of 3 if we have turned that on. So hopefully that's helpful. Tap assistance is available as well. And I know today I'm focusing a lot on the things that will help all learners. So voice control is one that you can turn on, and you can tell the iPad what you are wanting to do. So if I turn that on, it's going to be listening to everything I say. So for sake of today, I am not going to turn that on, but voice control is amazing. I went ahead and pulled this up so that you can see a little bit more about it. You can use your voice to control, to do things on your iPad, even when you're not connected to the internet. So the systems command and navigation, you can open apps by name. So I could say open notes, start new note, and then start my note. Or I could say open messages, send message to so and so, and then tell the iPad the context of, or tell them the text that I want sent, and send it. And again, it says in here, it says you can adjust the volume and take a screenshot. You can just work with whatever's on screen, and then you can dictate and edit text. So there's really a lot you can do, and then it goes through. And I kind of just went over this system commands. You can say open notes, open control center, go home, go to sleep. What's on the screen? Tell me what's on the screen. Maybe you can't see everything that's on the screen. Voice control is a game changer, especially for students that have limited mobility, but they have a good, strong voice, and they know how to navigate their iPad. I've used this mostly. I've seen it used mostly with adults with significant physical disabilities. So voice control is a great thought. Home button, you can change change the click speed and how long it has to be held to be able to activate, Siri, for example. Right now, my Siri is turned on. Apple TV remote, you can use your iPad Apple TV remote instead of swiping gestures. Pointer control, again, this is available. This is not something that I typically use for all students, but the next one absolutely is. The keyboards, make sure that you have which keyboards that you want to have full access to noted. And again, on the keyboards, there's that sticky keys, or the sticky keys is where what did it say? The sticky keys allows the modifier keys to be set without having to hold the key down. So there are some things within keyboards, but the main keyboard feature that I suggest you use is under General. And then I believe we are on to hearing. So hearing, there are four categories within that hearing devices, or the hearing section. So you've got hearing devices. If you have a student with a hearing device, it can be hooked through Bluetooth, hooked into your iPad. Very helpful to know. Sound recognition. If you have a student that is deaf or hard of hearing, there are certain sounds that will the iPad will alert them to. So if there's a baby crying in the area, there's glass being broken, a doorbell, etc., the iPad will let them know about that. This one, the audio and visual, you can customize the headphone accommodations. If you have a student that can only hear on the left side and not the right side, you can adjust the volume between the left and right, make the left and right speakers the same content. As you know, and sometimes in stereo, you'll hear music in one ear and the singing in the other, or a combination of the both. So if you have mono audio, it will equally play into both so that they do not miss that content. So you can add LED for flash alerts, flash when it's on silent. But the big one in this hearing category that I want to go over is subtitles and captioning. So with subtitles and captioning turned on, if there is available content for subtitles, you will be able to access that. And so with it being turned on, and right now I have it set as large text. You can change how the captioning looks on a background, and it gives you an example. So just a reminder, back to that literacy, having those subtitles or captions turned on can actually be time spent reading for students. So consider having that turned on for your students. The last area that I wanted to go over for access for all students is guided access, and you can launch this within an app when it is on. So I have turned guided access on, and then I can change my passcode setting. I can set a time limit. And so what guided access does is this is going to lock your student into a particular app, and they are not going to be able to get out of it unless they have the code, which obviously you are the one that has the code. So what I wanted to make sure that you know is that guided access can be used within an app. And I'm going to find an app real quick, and I'll show you quickly what it looks like. But this is a big accessibility feature. If a student is having a hard time and not staying in an app that you want them to stay in, or they need to take time to focus and stay within an app, for example, then we would be able to use guided access to keep them in that app. Okay, so for example, let's open Letter School.
Letter School! Cool!
So I'm going to triple click my home screen, or my home button, and I can choose guided access. And you see on this screen, I can choose different options for guided access. I can start guided access. Right now it says at the bottom, circle areas that you would like to disable. So for me, I do not want my student going out of here to more apps. So that's one thing that I'm going to disable. I also do not want them changing any of the settings. So I'm going to disable that as well. Okay. I do not mind if they go from upper to lowercase, which is what this is up here. So I'm going to leave that open. So I go up to the top, I hit start. I would not use the code 123456, but for training purposes today, we will. So now as a student, I can tap all I want right in this area. It's not going to let me out to another app, but it will take me. It'll allow me to fully use the app.
A for F.
I can, like I said, I can go up here. I can switch upper and lowercase, letters, numbers, etc. But I can't go to the settings. So that is blocked out for me. So to stop, I'm just going to triple click the home button to exit. And I have to put in my passcode, and I'm going to choose end. And now the student is free to work on whatever they would like. And back to our settings, accessibility. The accessibility shortcuts, as you see, like when I triple click, so when I triple clicked, it gave me the option for guided access. I have that set as an option. You could also have Zoom as a triple click to access quickly. You could have voice control. As you can see, you can have any of these things in the accessibility shortcut. So there's some non-traditional accessibility features that I like to bring up really quickly. And so these aren't necessarily right under your accessibility tab, but I wanted to bring them up to you. So you can use Hey Siri to type your text, to set reminders, to create events, and she's listening to my screen. Let me stop here. To write speech to text notes. Again, you can do that with the keyboard, but you can also have Siri do that for you as well. You can have Siri set a timer. Hey Siri, set a timer for 5 seconds.
Okay, added.
And so now that's one quick way for kids to stay on task by setting a timer, for teachers to set a timer. Quite easy for someone to use. And so another thing is the screenshot. Remember that you have a view of the screen, you can view a full page, and you can mark up and share those screenshots. The camera, you can use the camera to magnify images, words, capture a picture of a worksheet, and then edit it, or with the markup feature, which looks like the pencil, and then you can have it turned in that way. Another thing is very helpful, especially for our students that have a difficult time reading, is you could record instructions and send them to your students. You could mirror or model an activity while mirroring the iPad in real time. You could send photos of completed work to and from parents, from students. Students can send their completed work to you. If they don't have a scanner, take a picture and send it. You can grab QR codes for quick link retrieval rather than having students struggle typing in a long web address. You can connect all of your web addresses that you're going to be using for a lesson with a QR code. Have a student grab the QR code and it's going to open up for them using the camera. You can record responses instead of writing. I should say the students can record responses instead of writing, but you could too. How many times do you have to give feedback for a student? You could thinking outside the box, you could record that feedback and they would have the visual as well as the verbal. And then you can make a schedule on the go. Take a picture of the next 3 things that you're going to do. Say at the zoo, you have a kiddo that really thrives in that structure, but you're in a community space that you cannot not as easily make a visual schedule for them. So you can take pictures and make a schedule right there on the go. Notes, I went over a few things of this within the Notes app. You can use speech to text. You can take a photo. You can add a photo to that document. You can scan a document, and it actually, when you take a photo of a document, it can be scanned out and saved to your Google Drive, to your folders within your iPad, and it'll save it as a PDF. And then again, you can sign or mark up or add text and writing to any of those pictures or scans that you have downloaded within Notes. The long press, again, that is a just hovering over a word, tapping on that word for a few seconds. You will get the, let me just show that real quickly again. So it's hard to describe, so let me go back. So a long press is where I'm going to hover over a word for a few seconds, and then I'm going to get a menu of options to copy that word, look it up, speak, share, spell. So that long press, also you can copy a link, share a file, AirDrop. If I go back to that if I choose share, you get all of those available share options again. So that's a great feature that your students can benefit from. And then share and add photos. So if I hover over let me show you this one real quickly. If your students wanted to grab this picture and they wanted to use that for their project, of course, giving proper credit, they can share it, they can add it to their photos, which is going to add it to the photos within my iPad. They can copy it to paste in a document they're writing, or they can share it to you. Or share it, if they're presenting on a large screen, they're talking about polar bears, they can share it right there. So that is a good accessibility feature. Despite the fact that it's not listed as accessibility, it is a good feature to use. Safari, within that Safari app, which we'll run back to that real quickly, you can adjust the text size, which we saw that up in this choice right here. I can make the text size larger or smaller. So that is right there available. You can choose that reader view, which is what we have on right now. So if we turn the reader view off, you can see our screen looks much different, right? So within that reader view, there's such fewer distractions. You can share a website or link, which is in that export feature. You can turn a Safari page into a PDF for reading, for marking up, for forwarding, saving, and more. Within the Pages app, which is the built-in word processing app of the Apple offers, you can use speech to text and text to speech. So I'm going to show you real quickly. I pulled up the Pages app. I have a blank document here, and so I do have those features right here. I can use the speech to text. If I type, I can choose and I'm going to write about those polar bears, and there I can do my shortened, here's my word prediction, the polar, and it gives me, I don't even have to type but one press, the polar bear, and so on and so forth. So it does offer the speech to text, text to speech, and word prediction. So when I say text to speech, if I long press over what I want to be read, it's going to speak that for me.
Polar bear.
So again, let me go back to that. So if I press over what I want it to read, I can
Polar bear.
have it read to me. And then restrictions, which is under screen time in your settings. And let me jump back out to my screen here. Settings, and if I just search screen time, which you can do either way. You can see what is available within screen time to set as an option. So you've got your downtime, you've got your app limits, you've got what's always allowed, and then of course the content and privacy restrictions that you can have turned on. There are several that are very helpful, including, what level of content, if you're going to allow any store purchases. So let me run back to the screen. So you can set your password, you can set speech recognition, you can set content on your websites and choose which apps are allowed. And you can choose which, and again, content on websites, but also what websites are allowed. You can really lock down your iPad quite a bit. And some kiddos need that. Keyboards are, you can choose different keyboards. You can allow predictive text. You can enable dictation. You can swipe to use the keyboard. You can download additional keyboards on the from the App Store for specific needs, such as dyslexia. I know on my iPad I have multiple keyboards. Let me go back out here and hit so here I am in settings, general, and then I'm going to go over here to keyboards. And so I have 8 keyboards installed, and I can choose, say I want to use my co-writer keyboard, and I'm going to allow full access. So now if I go into notes, well, I could go into pages too. So I can use my co-writer. Well, here I'm going to switch co-writer, pick co-writer. Here's my co-writer keyboard. If you have students that are very familiar with co-writer, that keyboard is right there for them to use. So that is all I wanted to say about keyboards for today. Control Center. If you go up to the top right of the screen on your iPad, you will be able to quickly access your frequently used features. So I am up here. I'm going to just swipe down real quickly, and here is my Control Center. I can customize this Control Center. Currently I have like screen record, my photos, etc. on there, but I can add to my Control Center. If I go to settings and then choose Control Center, I can access any of these items and add them to it. One thing that's fantastic that a lot of people have not been exposed to is this hearing option. My iPad can actually turn into a microphone for kiddos that need that additional bit of auditory support. So record screen, again, was within my Control Center. If I run back to that real quickly, this right here is my record screen. So I can choose to add audio for a quick tutorial, record and send a quick video on app features, for example. I do that often. Many of you may have seen that. I wanted to put a slide in here really quickly with some of my favorite apps, and ask you guys to please chime in on the Padlet what your favorite apps are and how you use them for the classroom. I've went over a lot of built-in features. Please feel free to use the Padlet for any questions. I want you to save the date for the PATINS Tech Expo 2021. Hopefully we will see you there. So it's April 15th, 2021 in Carmel. We always ask for you to complete a PATINS evaluation with the information of the A2E accessibility to support all students with Apple iPads. And then PATINS Project is one of the Indiana Resource Network agencies. So if you are interested, this slide will be within your PowerPoint. I want you to reach out if you have any questions. I would love to interact with you in email, on Twitter. And that is all that I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I cannot wait to answer any iPad, Apple accessibility questions that you may have in the future. Thank you so much.